That's it, boys. Catfish FC. Catfish FC strike yet again as for the second consecutive game we are unable to build from our performance against Arsenal, but not even able to take advantage of Arsenal dropping points in the final second of their game against an Aston Villa. And for myself, it comes down to the never-ending same issues and problems that I see all the time under Enzo Maresca. I'm sorry, teams like Leeds and Bournemouth, they're treating us like how we treated Barcelona and Arsenal, and we're showing from consecutive games we are unable to match the intensity. But I think one of the issues I'm starting to see, you guys, if I'm keeping things very real with you guys, I really feel like we just overcomplicate the game against lesser opposition. I don't think it's that complicated to be able to compete properly against teams like Bournemouth. You know, all this moving of the ball in particular ways, all these inverted fullbacks that don't really offer too much against this type of opposition, right? We just, in my opinion, we kind of hurt ourselves with how we play. We kind of limit the possibilities of what we can do in a game today. Without Cole Palmer brilliance, which, listen, watching the game as a fan, you can feel frustrated, but I think now the game's over, we can understand Cole was always going to need a few games to get back to full speeds and find his rhythm and groove again. I think that's understandable because that's just one of the eternal laws of the game. That's how football works. No player is above needing a few games to find their form again. But the sad thing is, without Cole Palmer having to be at his best, it meant like one of the main creative outlets for the team today to be able to maybe connect the strikers, connect the wide players, was constantly coming to an end because naturally Palmer's passing was short today. Not able to connect the wingers with overlaps or balls in behinds, and not able to really play any dangerous passes into the strikers as well, and having a lot of his passes intercepted. Now, understanding that Palmer is in the team just to get his minutes up and quickly just find his groove again, you'd like to think with all the money we're spending all the time on attacking players here, upgrading guys left, right and centre, that maybe others could step up. But sadly, you just don't really see it. And it's a hard one to really be able to talk about and describe, because it's very easy for me to kind of just lazily say, you know what, when players like Enzo Fernandez are completely off it today, I mean, any type of forward pass this guy was trying to play, it felt like he was an enemy for us in this game today, because it was like he was low-key doing some behind-the-door dealings with Bournemouth players to give them free possession back, because anything forward did F4 in this game today. When you're seeing the limitations behind our abilities to kind of create with these inverted fullbacks, I think Cucurella, not his best game today. Can I be surprised when he's playing week in, week out, and probably needs a hat-on to be ready for a game like this, but the kid isn't. And Malo Gusto today, same thing, offering nothing offensively. It's easy for me to just kind of look at this game and say, listen, this player, that player, that player, that player, they were bad today, hence why Chelsea were awful and did nothing. But you guys, it's not the first time I have seen a game like this. And I'm starting to look at the deeper reasons behind why we just eternally struggle now, to the point that it's kind of expected, you know, like when that young female Chelsea fan was on Sky Sports and, you know, intelligently said she's more worried about teams like your Burnleys and co compared to Arsenal and Barcelona. She was right, even though for myself, I'm happy with the performances against them for pride, you know what I mean? But she was more than right, because this is where our season really is defined by these types of opponents and these types of games, right? And I just feel, after watching this eternal struggle against lesser opposition that we are unable to match, I'm starting to look at things a bit differently, and it really does feel like it's our own football, it's our own playing style that hurts us the most. We hurt ourselves more than the opposition hurting us, yeah? I feel like it's a combination of things. I feel like it's too much respect shown to any type of dangerous possibility the opposition could have, to the point that we subdue ourselves in terms of what we're doing to hurt these guys with our attacks. And I think that first half kind of summed things up. 0 shots against Petrovic. None whatsoever. Bournemouth with 9. Having a goal disallowed, thank God. I mean, I'm thinking 3 minutes into the game, and Reece James, of all guys, playing the entire defence on sides. Thank God that his shoulder blades seem to be the thing to kind of deny that moment then. Because if Bournemouth are 1-0 up, I think we don't even get a point today. But then I thought 2 things. I thought, number one, it feels like opposition have clocked, Chelsea are just allergic to starting games fast outside of top teams. If you get a goal in the first 15 minutes, you have a really strong chance to get a result against these bums. And the second thing I thought was, why the hell am I seeing Reece James playing as a left back in that moment for the disallowed goal? And it just goes back to what I'm trying to link my overall point to. We overcomplicate the game a bit too much against these teams. For what reason? You know what I mean? When Reece James can nearly cost you the difference between getting a point and getting nothing in this game because he's in a position he shouldn't even be in. For what benefit, bro? For what benefit should this guy even be there? It just tells me that we're just forcing it a bit too much, man. We're just kind of overcomplicating the game for no reason whatsoever. Like, against teams like Burnley, you know, Bournemouth, it's the psychological battle. You know what I mean? Like, you need to make these teams fear you, yeah? You need to make these teams second-guess their actions. When they're lacking confidence, yeah? When their pressing intensity dips, that's when you smell that blood and you go for it. You attack and you assert your dominance. Because a lot of times when you see how teams like this play against the big teams, yeah, they stay in the contest maybe for 50% of the game if they can. But normally, someone makes a mistake that undoes all that good work. That's just kind of how the nature of these games play out. But we aren't able to impose that because we don't do anything that really causes fear in the opposition, that really gets them to second guess their actions, or really gets them to even second guess the danger we can provide. And I think that's because we overcomplicate our football with this over-reliance on the system at all times. In the big games, in the cup games, knockout games, this gives us another yard advantage. And whatever fetish that Maresca has against winning tactical battles against the big boys in the game, listen, keep that energy for those games. But real talk, my guy, I just don't think you have to be thinking about invertation. Is that even a real word? Inverted nonsense against these Bournemouths and Leeds and stuff like that, man. I think Frank Lampard showed us like a long time back. You know, remember that 3-0 win against Leeds at home? Superb performance. Took a lot away from us, though, because our intensity was crap in the few games after. But normally, that's kind of just the recipe for how you kind of beat these teams. You know, you win your 50-50 situations and you just attack with a bit more danger. And we aren't able to do that because the system, everyone hides behind it. I've been saying this a long time. Everyone is allergic to influencing the game with their own qualities, their own decision making. Because it was kind of baffling to me that I rarely saw ambitious attempts outside of pure desperation right near the end. I'm remembering that Enzo Fernandez pathetic shot when he's off balance, wrong move completely, wrong decision. And just to say very quickly, listen, I think Enzo's a top midfield player, but I think the thing I'm waiting for from him to elevate him in my eyes, outside of just being a tactical mid at the moment, is putting off the spectacular. And I just see this inability from Enzo Fernandez to really affect the game with his innate qualities. His qualities are supposed to be 100 million times better than anything that a Bournemouth midfield player can throw at us, which goes back to my overall point, because when you can have Reece James and Enzo, and with buying all these midfield players for big money, yet Bournemouth is B team midfield players, because Tyler Adams and Christie, they're the main guys in their midfield, and they don't have access to them in the game today. They use their B team guys, yet they were still able to compete against us throughout this entire game in midfield. And when I see prime examples of failures like this from our part, it just reinforces the fact that it's the system that actually hurts us in these games. I've been saying this a billion times. I'm going to say it 1,000,001 times. A lot of times, man, you just need like an overlap support, yeah? You have to stretch their defenses more. We don't do nothing to stretch the opposition defensive shape. You know how many times I saw in that second half? Pedro Neto on the ball, for example. Listen, he put in 3 superb in-swinging crosses. Garnacho hit the post on one of them. Real talk, that was the only quality we showed in terms of actual danger. The shots we had on target, that's bare minimum in my example. Yeah, it felt like something considering he had nothing in the first half, which is embarrassing. But those were easy-ass saves for Petrovic, for any serious keeper in this league to deal with, yeah? But I just looked at many dangerous moments that we were looking to have in this game. Because I thought the game plan was, all right, Bournemouth, we know you're going to kind of press us, right? You're going to come to us. We're going to try and bait you because we have the quality to play through that, which we did a lot of times. I can't complain about how we defended. I can't. I can complain about everything else in front of the defense, but the defenders, there's no complaints. But every time he played through it, released a midfield player, and there was space to attack in behind Bournemouth's midfield lines, everything was completely subdued. Because the moment the ball goes out wide to a winger, where is his partner in crime to combine off with, to play in behind? Because ideally, with these wingers who we signed that want to take shots on goal, they're not allowed to run towards goal. They're not allowed to come inside to take shots off because there's no one around them to play with, yeah? The amount of times I saw Malo Gusto not instinctively, ultra instinct level understanding of just when to be out wide to receive. It's baffling because I saw this brother do that under Pochettino in his first season and he got 7 assists that season. And I think to myself, why does Maresca deny some of the football basics with his system? Because these are basics, man. You know, when I watch Match of the Day, I see these teams score, simple type of easy footballing goals. Not, coming from okay, I don't know, balls across goal type of stuff, balls to find the guy on the far post, little stuff like that. But for us, it's like we have to create a 4D, a 4-dimensional style of football that's never been seen before to create any shooting opportunities or dangerous opportunities or anything towards goal. And I think we keep creating difficult possibilities for ourselves because there's forever this overcomplication on wasting games with inverted fullbacks where, listen, against the big teams where you need them for their pressing energy and tackling, you're going to win whatever battles you need. But fast forward to games like this, and now your fullbacks are in attacking positions doing nothing on the ball because now it's a different game. Now it's about what are you now doing offensively to hurt the opposition, and it's F all. It's absolutely nothing. And it just doesn't make sense why this is the only approach for these types of games. Am I just that much of an armchair fan where there can't be this football utopia of inverted stuff for the big games, the cup games, whatever games, and then a different way of playing, a more simplified way of playing that empowers the players to be able to take advantage and showcase their skills? Because why the hell do we keep buying 5-6 guys every season, rotating guys in and out, if it's not to sign them for their qualities? But then what is the point of making all these moves when they're kind of reduced to just doing bare minimum stuff because their roles don't really exist to their fullest in the system, if that makes sense? I don't really understand it. It's getting really boring. You watch games like this where there's nothing in it, and it just makes you just hate yourself, if I'm being honest with you. Just some of you guys are up at 2, 3 a.m. watching this abroad, so I feel for you guys. Killing your sleep for what? Does it have to be that complicated, man? I feel hella dejected after watching that. And I just think it's just kind of basic now, Maresca. Our best chances against these types of teams now is empowering players' relations. I think it's going to have to be a point where it's Esteval right playing consistently with Palmer, who's playing consistently with Joao Pedro, and we have to hope their player quality produces the moments, because I mean that's all we have right now. It won't be the system stuff, and it can't be the system stuff, because the system, you can't system your way to success all the time like that. It's not going to work now. Teams are just too good at understanding what we need to do, and you know what I mean. I just personally think Maresca is just overcomplicating the nature of these games, and it's actually hurting us. So that's everything I got to say, my friends. Leave me your thoughts in the comments, and I'll catch you guys later. Love.